Welcome to the 3 Dot Podcast. My name is always Brian. It's formerly known as Brian with a silent E.
Oh,
But around these parts, it's Bogzy. And to my right,
I am DBuster, also formerly known as D Goody.
there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are obviously missing one dot.
No, he's invisible.
He's invisible.
He's here,
He is the invisible.
but he is here in
spirit.
spirit
Yes.
and in.
It's an off day for him.
He's a busy boy.
He's a busy boy. So you get 2 out of the 3 dots today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day out of your week, whenever you happen to see this episode. Dave, you know what topic we're talking about today? Because it's just you and
What?
we're going to call this the traveling series.
Traveling.
Traveling series. We're calling it a traveling series because we have experienced multiple trips together.
We have.
And all 3 of us too.
We have.
Obviously, we're not going to talk about the trips that we went to with Fresh. But you and I went on a trip not too long ago.
Well, it's
together.
a couple of years.
It's only been a couple of years?
Yeah.
Where did we go?
We went to the great island of New Zealand.
New Zealand. We went there together. It was,
The land
yes.
of Middle Earth.
The land of hobbits. He returned home.
Shut the fuck up.
He returned home to Hobbiton.
God damn it.
Okay, why did we go to New Zealand?
Well, first off, I have family there.
There you go. The more you know.
I do have family in New Zealand, and they were very welcoming, and they were kind,
Yes, Uncle
and they
Frodo,
treated
Uncle Sam.
shut the God damn it.
okay. But
They treated you.
He has lovely family out there, and they all look like you. They all look like you, like you with long hair, and you little skinny hair, and your cousins look like you too. They got big eyes just like you, but they're extremely nice. They're one of the sweetest people I've ever met. But I just remember, when you and I were both working together, you just kind of popped in and you were like, "Hey," I remember I was in your bedroom too, and you were like, "What do you say if we take a trip to New Zealand?" And I look at you and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "New Zealand, like, let's go." And I was like, "Really?" And at the time, I knew you pitched it to me because you knew I was big on killer whales. Or
Yeah. Well, that's
by the
how
way, chat. This is my necklace. You get a picture.
Chat.
Picture
Talk to the microphone.
You got a picture. You got a picture of this. This is. If people have been wondering what's on my necklace, this is a killer whale. This is an orca. It's my favorite animal in the world. But at the time,
That's another topic.
yes. At the time, he pitched it to me, and he's like, "What would you think about going to New Zealand?" And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then I was like, "I can't buy that ticket now," because I remember seeing the ticket prices. Dave, being the great man he is, as much as we put him down, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you a ticket. Just pay me back. Let's go." And I was like, "Let's go."
Hell yeah. And we did.
And we did go.
And we flew out there.
How you remember how long the flight was?
It's a long ass flight.
It was long.
It was.
Was it longer?
Oh, I don't remember how long, but
10 plus hours. 10 plus hours, right?
Yeah, for sure, 10 plus hours. I think it was like pushing 15, 16 hours,
Right.
or maybe on the way back. But it was long flights.
Yeah, this is by far, and when you hear the stories of what we experienced out there, like this is by far like one of the best international trips like I've ever been on.
You've had
Yeah.
a lot of driving. You just gotta. Everything's all spread out because it's not.
Yeah.
They have like one. We essentially went to North Island. We went to Auckland.
So there's 2 islands.
There's 2
islands.
two
right?
islands. We went to the North Island. We'd like to go back to the South Island, but
Well, yeah,
we
there's a
were
reason for that.
around the Auckland area. We like the first day we got there, we like took the train, we went downtown, we were walking around, trying out new spots, going to bars, like getting the feel for like their city life. And well, we'll get in more details later on like the of what we did, but
Well, the agreement of why, I mean, I'm always down to travel. You can barely get me to say no to go into a different state or a different country. But the one thing that got me to say yes was that I knew around New Zealand in their ocean, they do have wildlife of orcas, of killer whales that are naturally swimming around there. And call me crazy. People are probably gonna think I'm crazy, but then there was an interest of me of wanting to kayak in their oceans to see some wild orcas. And not many people know, but this little guy here is actually a daredevil. And he said yes to it. So he wanted to do it with me. That was one of the main reasons why we flew out to New Zealand. was to go kayaking with orcas. Little did we know. When we met up with his auntie, I think it was his auntie, or we met up with some tour guides.
Yeah.
On the very first day, we were like, where can we kayak with orcas? And I remember it was either his auntie or a local, and they were like, oh, kayak with orcas? You're in the wrong island. Yeah. So like we were there for what, a week and a half, 2 weeks?
We were there for
like 10 days at least.
Yeah, like a week and a half maybe.
So the first day in, we were in the wrong island. They were like, orcas do come by here, but you see them more in the South Island. So immediately that was crossed off the checklist.
We did it anyway.
We still went. Yeah, we did kayak in the ocean.
We did it anyway.
We did kayak
with the hopes that we ran into stuff. We saw some like jellyfish and some other things in the water.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Yeah.
And we were looking.
Oh yeah.
We went deep. Like we went to like we were in the ocean and we went kind of far and we kind of followed the coast
like
down.
This wasn't like canal kayaking, guys. It was.
But can I say this? All right. When we first got out, right, we were deciding who was gonna be the guide, the front of the boat.
Of the kayak?
Of the kayak. We were all like, all right, I'll be the front. And then he'll be at the back. This is when you first got on the kayak. And then this son of a bitch, when we were doing it, I was like, follow my lead. So we're going in order so we can go like at max speed. This guy, we would be like so off sync. I would be going this way. He would be going the other way. We'd be like spinning around. And I'm like, dude, follow what I do. And I'm like going like this. And he's all like,
if I can, okay. So I was in the back of the kayak. I made him go in front. If I can find the video, there was one point where I wasn't rowing with him and I was just watching him. And I took my camera out and started recording him. And you can just hear Dave go, man, are you paddling, man? And I was like, yeah, I am. Come on, Dave. Just keep going. And you can just see.
I'm like,
obviously I put a lot more weight on the kayak. So he was really like, I made him like, for at least 10 minutes, I made him row all by himself. And, he's like, he noticed when he turned back and he knows I wasn't paddling with him.
Yeah, he was laughing.
Yeah.
He was laughing like maybe half the time. Because I was noticing like the splashes, you can hear the splash.
Yeah.
When you put the paddle in the water, you hear that. And we were trying to row and he wouldn't synchronize. So we finally like followed the coast. We went all the way up, struggled all the way up. And then we got to a beach area. We pulled in the kayak and we were just hanging around. We were just laughing.
Yeah, at least we didn't turn over.
We didn't. No, we didn't.
We didn't turn over once, actually.
No, we didn't.
I think we were a big group too. I think it was like a group of 10. I'm pretty sure one group fell over.
It was a big group. Yeah. They teach you like beforehand, like how to flip yourself over and like the safety rules.
Yeah.
And then we hit a beach and then we were all hanging out on the beach, taking pictures, went through this gorgeous cave.
Yeah, it was a cave. It was like a big butthole. That brings you to the other part of the ocean. And they used that big butthole cave in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean.
They did,
right? Okay. There was a name for this cave.
I don't know what the name of the cave is.
We took a picture in front of it. We took a picture.
We did take a picture in front of it.
Yeah, we'll post it for a visualization
somewhere.
Yeah,
but you'll take a look at it. And we went there, and we finally took off. And I'm like, you know what? I'm in the back, and he was in the front.
Oh yeah, you switched.
We switched.
Yeah,
and then on the way back, and then I was just watching him the whole time and synchronizing it. We were moving so much faster.
But not only that too, since I was kind of fucking around in the back, when he moved me to the front, what I would do is I would scoop so deep and flip the water behind me so it would splash him, and you just hear him go, ah! The kayaking was great. I want to go back to your family, man.
Yeah.
Nicest people I've ever met. I miss them so much. They housed us.
Yep.
They drove us everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, they drove us to the nearest grocery shopping mall.
Oh, yeah, we got our amenities.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, which was they would drive us within 10 minutes or they would drive us far. And the farthest they drove us
was a couple hours.
Was Hobbiton. We did visit Hobbiton. We visited the Lord of the Rings set when they filmed in New Zealand. That was sick. We took an awesome picture.
That was your idea. I did. Okay, this was one of the things you brought up that I was like, yeah, I'm down to do. Because we were coming out with an itinerary of what to do. right? I wanted to be like, all right, kayaking was your idea. I wanted to go, we went spelunking. That was another thing we did in New Zealand.
Oh, that's what you wanted to do.
That's what I wanted to do.
Oh my. Okay. See, now everything's coming to me.
Yeah, because then remember when we went down the cave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're okay. Hold on. Let's get back. Let's back in track.
Okay.
We went.
There's a lot to say.
We went from the grocery store. Now we're spelunking.
Yeah.
We went to Hobbiton.
Yes.
We saw the set.
We were laughing. We're taking pictures. We went to the bar. What was the bar called?
Yeah. Well, wherever Bilbo Baggins was from.
Yeah.
You looked right at home. The Hobbit, houses look like mansions to you when you stood next to them.
Shut up.
I was a big Lord of the Rings fan. At least of the movies. In high school, and I always knew that there was a tour visiting set there. Yeah, but the drive was long. Like literally, because we were in Auckland. We were residing in Auckland. Yeah. So Auckland is their downtown. That's their San Francisco. So driving there to Hobbiton, you're literally driving through the countryside because that's where the set's at. You're driving through. It's so green out there.
Sheeps.
Yeah.
Horses.
Yeah.
Cows.
Yes.
It's just. It's very green.
It's very green.
It's very green.
But Hobbiton, I highly recommend Hobbiton. If you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, you'll see a lot of replicas of the swords and the costumes, and the shop is great. You'll get to get some memorabilia, and you get to visit the set, and they give you beer at the pub. The Dragon, the Dragon Inn, the Green Dragon.
Is it the Green Dragon? Something like that.
Yeah. The Green Dragon. We took a really dope picture there with the bartender there. Mm-hmm. But now we can transition into spelunking.
That was one of the things I wanted to do. So these are the two things
Cave diving.
Cave diving. One of the things we did was kayaking, your idea.
Yeah.
And then Hobbiton, your idea.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I want to do, like he said, I'm more of the adventurous one.
You know what? You son of a bitch. You fooled me with that one, with the spelunking. Because you're like, oh, you want to go to the caves? And you showed me a picture of all the glowworms. You showed me a picture of people in water tubes flowing down a river, looking at a dark cave with glowworms. I looked at that and I said, that looks sick. When we got there, we had to be harnessed 100 feet down a cave. And at that point, I remember...
Wait, hold on. Actually, finish your story.
It didn't hit me that that's what we had to do because I woke up we woke up like 5:30 in the morning.
Cave,
5:30 in the morning. Double layering of clothing. We also have pictures of this too. If you guys don't believe us, got in. I was ready, and I thought we were gonna maybe take it. Take staircase down or an elevator down to wherever we had to get to. No, you have to be hooked onto a harness, and they drop you 100 feet down. And I remember looking at Dave, and I'm like. This wasn't discussed. This wasn't discussed. And because there was so much adrenaline already pumping and I was already next in line, I was like, fuck. I was there. Like,
you had to essentially rappel down into the cave.
Yourself, too. And you're the one in control of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You had to.
Yeah, we had to. I think I almost burnt the shit out of my hand because I didn't know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
That was batshit crazy. But we went cave diving.
Uh-huh.
And we lapelled ourselves down. Rappelled, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, okay.
Rappel.
Let me, just to get into that story a little bit more. So I was down for that. I do indoor rock climbing and stuff like that. So heights didn't matter to me. This guy, I was all like, all right, cool. You know how you're supposed to just kind of lower yourself down and you just kind of you're in a sitting position. So you're like this the whole time. Right?
Yeah.
Why is it that when you got on, you started laying down and then you were all like...
I was sticking my 2 feet up.
Yeah.
And I was like...
I
was like, if I'm going to go, man, this is the closest thing I'll ever be to
Batman. And he was going down super slow. It was like, oh. And there was a moment where he went a little faster. I don't know if he felt the pressure.
Yeah, and then I felt the burn off my hand.
Yeah, you got to the bottom and then he met up with me and he goes, I think I'm bleeding. And I was all like, and okay, when we got there, we had to put layers on.
Yeah,
we had to put this wetsuit on.
Yeah.
Because there's water in the cave, and we had to drudge through water a little bit just to get to the like upper part of the cave where we just kind of walked normally.
Yeah.
But we had to get again lowered into the cave first.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for our guide to come down, and when we first did that,
It was beautiful down there, by the way.
yes,
Yeah.
that was probably the hardest part for you is going down
Yeah.
and probably coming up.
We're gonna talk about coming up in a bit. That's gonna be the ender. But when we got down there, they gave us tubes and they gave us paddles again to move ourselves.
To push, yeah.
And I also made sure I stay in front of Dave so that way I can splash him behind me as we're going through the river. But the images that you see, on YouTube or on TikTok, wherever you get your fix in terms of traveling, the glowworm cave is real. When you get in there, it's so dark, but you see all the glowworms.
Yeah, I remember we were in there for maybe like 30 minutes just going
Something
through
like
it.
that, yeah.
So we were going one direction, and our guide was telling us like facts about the cave, and we're just dredging through water, and it was cool. We had flashlights and things or headlights. Do we have headlights? Or
Something
flashlights?
like that, yeah.
I think we had headlights. We had headlights on.
Great experience, man.
And then we got to a spot where it was like this giant, open, empty cave, whatever. And then our guide was like, "Turn out the lights." And we're all like,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And they have like stalactites and stalagmites. We turn out the light, and then beautiful.
Yeah.
Glowworms.
Yeah.
It was quiet. You're just hearing like drops of water, like the water coming through. And we're all like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Crazy.
So we go through that, great experience seeing the glowworms. Obviously, now the question comes to how do we get out?
So the way we got out was we walked all the way back to the waterfront, like where the water was going thing.
Yeah.
And then our guide blew up some of these tubes. So they had like a bunch of these tubes things. And instead of like walking against it or like how we came in, we just we just river raft all the way back down. And I think you were one of the first ones. And I was trying to chase you. And every time I got caught up to you, you just went like, yeah. I'm like, ah.
Any chance I can get to splash water in his face, I did. But I think I don't know which was scarier, whether we were getting let down
or coming up.
The harness was coming up, because how we had to come up was we were harnessed again, but we had to climb. We had to climb up. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yes.
And guys, it wasn't. Yes. It wasn't stairs.
No,
like,
we had to.
It's like, and I don't rock climb. I don't rock climb. Have I been rock climbing? Yes. I try to avoid the rock climbing heights because I don't like heights. I try to go bouldering because it's a lot shorter. But this, we had to rock climb a wall. This was a big wall. It wasn't too vertical. It was kind of like it was
leaned in. Yeah,
it was leaned in so that way I can pull the rope, right?
Yeah.
But I remember
there's a person at the top helping you though. So if you slipped, you're just kind of like, whoop. Okay.
DBuster was right in front of me, and he knew I had a thing with heights. So DBuster went ahead of me, and then when DBuster got up, he yells at me from below. He goes, "Bri, just don't look down, man." So I start climbing up, and of course I looked behind me. I was like, "Ah, shit!" I was like, I kept climbing myself. We have evidence of every step of the way that we were in this cave.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures.
When this episode comes out, well, hopefully we can put those pictures in.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, and we also, we did a lot of things in nature.
When you're in New Zealand and away from the city, you just kind of do nature things.
Yeah.
And one of the things was when we got back, my uncle had a boat.
His uncle has a boat.
My uncle has a boat.
Yes.
And then by the time we got back, they're just like, "Dave, we fixed it up. We're going to go fishing." And I was all like, "Okay, yeah." And then we didn't really have any plans for we just kind of chill, walk around, go souvenir shopping.
And I thought we were going to a lake, but his uncle was like, "No, we're going to go sea fishing.
We're going to go." Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you don't mind my curious ass." I was like, "Oh, we might see some orcas." Your uncle was like, "Maybe." But we went deep sea fishing, and man, I didn't see any other.
We were there for hours. We were catching fish.
No, you weren't.
Okay.
I was catching all the fish. Let me put a stat. Okay. I remember how much I caught. 17 fish, guys. 17 kinds of fish. I was on a streak. I was
4 or 5.
I was in such a streak that this guy was fed up with me, and he was just like, man, what am I gonna catch a fish, man? And like, nothing was hooking on. I was just laughing. His uncle started laughing at him, and then he did end up catching a few fish. You did catch a shark. Remember that? You caught a small shark.
Did I?
You did. You caught a small. Yeah, you caught a small shark.
I just remember, like, here's the thing. I caught one of the smaller fish. And then my uncle was telling me, he was like, oh, yeah, in order for regulation or bring it in, we need to, it needs to be a certain amount of size, or we got to throw it back in the water. And then I was talking to my uncle, and he was like, well, are we going to throw it back? And he literally just went, and he was like, what? He was like, they don't know if we eat it now. We had the freshest ceviche ever. Yeah. His uncle, the fish that we were able to keep, his uncle, and I think he had, was there a family friend too? They caught a few fish. Uncle started just cutting them up, dicing them up. He had tomatoes ready. He had red onions, limes,
lime, vinegar, boom, ceviche. We were eating it on the boat in the middle of the ocean with Dave's family. It was great. It was real good. And what was even great was, when we pulled up back home in the dock, we lined up all the fish on the floor, and then we got to pick up like all the fish that we caught, and then you can see Dave's picture just so disappointed.
Mine is I got like a small one, and then this guy, he had all in front of him. He had like a lot of it. I was like,
look at all my fish,
and I had like my little bucket hat.
Caught them all, baby.
It was ridiculous.
But then we also used that fish for we had like a Gutierrez fiesta in the garden.
We did, yeah. That was towards
had like some sort of lechon and. Different types of
a lot of fish.
Speaking of Filipino, though, let me just say, and again, Dave's family in New Zealand, one of the sweetest families I've ever met. So obviously they're Filipino. Mm-hmm. When they speak English, though, they have the most Kiwi accent ever.
Yes,
when they're speaking English to you, you can hear the Kiwi accent, like an Australian accent. Mm-hmm. But when they're speaking Tagalog, which is our native language, it sounds like my mom at home.
It's crazy. They turn it on and off. It's weird.
Yeah. I do miss them. I do want to go back. Hopefully in the near future, and hopefully we can bring maybe Chaotic with us and Fresh and whoever else would like.
Maybe,
to come.
yeah. We'll probably go to South Island.
Yeah.
We're gonna see some orcas.
Yeah, we go to South Island. I remember going into a mall. I'm gonna bring her up. I remember going into a mall, and of course, you're not being DBuster. You're not being DBuster single guys, and we're always looking around. We pass by the shoe store. DBuster goes, Brian, and this is DBuster. And I look in the store, and I see this baddie working in the store. Shout out to Athena.
Yeah,
who's actually big in New Zealand. She is a big
she's a radio host.
Jockey. She's a big radio jockey, and she's a big influencer out there. But we met her before. I mean, she was already doing that by the time we were out there, but she wasn't as big. She happened to be Filipino as well. She was speaking fluent Tagalog to me. She didn't look Filipino though. She was definitely mixed. She was Greek.
She's mixed.
Yeah, She was Greek Filipina, and had a very thick Kiwi accent.
The thing is, I pointed out, you walked in there. You walked in there and you said, "What's up?"
We did it.
Yeah, you said, "What's up?" And then I was all like, "Oh," and then she was like, "Yeah, she was cool."
Because I saw a lot of beautiful people out there, but then I was like, "Oh, we can't. I gotta at least say hi." Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. Shout out to Athena. But I mean the people there in general, sweetest people I've ever met. Even when you're what's that thing they say? Sweet ass mate.
Sweet. I don't know. I just know the Maori one, the one that's on
your shirt.
On my shirt. Kia kaha. Yeah.
Which is essentially like just
stay strong.
Yeah, stay strong. I think you and I both got a couple shirts that
that says Kia kaha.
That is okay. It is sweet ass. It's sweet ass. So you come into a store out there or a restaurant, and you have a local or an employee ask you, "Hey, how's your day going?" And then we're like, "It's going great." Sweet ass, mate. Sweet ass. Like that's their like, oh, good shit.
That's the lingo.
Yeah. But we should definitely go back, take a visit to the South Island.
We'll check it out.
Say hi to your family again. And
it was a good trip. It was a good trip. We did a lot. There was a lot of. It's just it's far. You got to drive.
Yeah.
And the public transportation. I don't know. We didn't. It's just a train that goes to the city, and maybe it's like the suburbs.
What would you say is the most memorable part of the trip, and what is something that you saw in New Zealand that you wish we had here in the States?
Oh, you know what it is? It's the smallest thing in New Zealand. Oh, was this New Zealand or was this Australia?
Which, by the way, that'd be another episode.
That's another episode.
On the traveling series with the 3 Dot Podcast.
Yeah, so we'll end it on this note. But one of my favorite things that at least I remember was how clean the transportation was.
That's true. Yeah.
It was it was quiet. It was clean.
Yeah.
It was like, I can imagine it. It just felt new. And I can't remember, but the chairs switched sides.
That's right.
Yeah. Was that New Zealand? So if the train's going this way, you can switch it so it's backwards. Yeah. So you're facing the direction you're going. And if you're going the opposite way, you can flip it. So you can face the direction it's going backwards. Right. I was like, that's genius.
I mean, for me, besides the people, great people, this is also a small thing too, is, you know how like here, you know, from the Bay Area, we have a lot of 7-Elevens, and if we want a quick snack, we go get a taquito. Over there, they get pies. They get meat pies. Do you remember that?
The meat pies.
And we grabbed a few of those meat pies, and those things smacked.
They were
good. But that's their thing out there. It's meat pies. So that, I mean, amongst all things, I love being in different. We also went on a burger hunt as well. We literally had like list. Yeah, we had a list of different burger joints. Yeah, I took this really epic picture of DBuster looking at one of the burger trucks that we went to. But yeah, they had good burgers there. But just
we also went in the Sky Tower.
Yes,
and I walked it.
You walked it. I didn't.
You didn't because you're afraid of heights.
Yes, I stayed inside.
Yeah,
and I watched you.
I was essentially.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, think of like the Sky Needle in Seattle.
Yeah,
but it had like this graded walking path that's around it.
They put harnesses on you,
and then you can walk the perimeter of it.
Yeah, and there's a moment where they lean.
They tell you to lean. It was crazy. They're all like lean, and they're all like, okay. And it was like, trust the harness. And I was all like, okay, man. And I like pulled it, made sure it was all on tight. I looked at my harness that it's attached to me, and I leaned forward, and it was all like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then they pulled me back in. Yeah. It was good.
I remember like as his peer pressure to me, I remember when I didn't want to do it, and he was like, man, this is exactly what you said too. This is how I know. This is how I remember, because you brought this up. You were like, man, yeah, this is as close as you can get to being Batman. And he almost got me. Because you guys know I'm a big Batman fan. I love Batman. But the aerial stuff, I leave it to the comics. I leave it to the effects.
Anyway, this was our travel episode.
This was the first travel episode of New Zealand. Our traveling series.
We're going to be talking about it a lot more.
Every so often, we'll bring up trips that we all went to together. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you. What's your favorite trip that you've been to recently? Share it with us on the Twitter sphere, TikTok.
We'll read it. YouTube. We'll understand it. Give us recommendations, places to go.
Tell us places to go. Maybe we missed something out in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But hopefully
we'll go back. South Island. Give us recommendations.
Island with .3, the guy who's missing today. Shout out to Fresh. We'll see him on another episode. But guys, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to us thus far. I hope you're enjoying the content. My name is Bogzy.
And I am DBuster.
And this is the 3 Dot Podcast, where the conversation does not stop.
See you later.
I can't believe you did that to me. You want me, Batman?